Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now what we're going to do on this particular painting, I know this is a little hard to see on the video and make it out. In fact, I've got it upside down right now. And I don't know what I did with the book. Here it is. What we're actually doing, we're taking Parlange again, and this is the actual view in the book. Now, this is a beautiful painting of its own, and I think one illustration that we see here is how many paintings you can actually get from one source subject, or with one subject and one source like this. And I like this view. I thought about doing it over here. I thought about different things to do with it, but to be honest with you, I find it gets a little bit repetitious. And so consequently what I did is I focused on just this area right here, and then I cut it down to this area so that you can see exactly what we're doing and the direction that we're going with it. Now, it has been suggested that there wasn't a lot of detail in this picture. And that's correct. And I'm trying to find my copy of it. Okay. And here is, this was the view that I started with. And I was going to attempt to do it like this. Now this really could probably be developed into another really nice painting. I love the way the light hits all across here and so forth. But what I liked about this part, this would make more the center of interest to be more here, which really was not that interesting to me. What I like about this section, this is the bottom area blown up, is the fact that not in the small photograph that I've got, all the reference information, you really can't make out what's going on in here. Now, a lot of the exercise that we're doing today is really to convey the fact to you that it's not necessary to know everything perfectly. And so I made the decision in order to be able to pass my SAT test. My statement is going to be the fence. And I felt that there wasn't really enough in here to bring it out, but if I was to leave this white over here and then have the white suggested in front of the rest of it, what I actually do by doing that is reduce all of this to just a pattern behind it that is going to be used to bring out my subject matter. The detail is really irrelevant. Now that's very difficult to do. I want you to notice I have a strong dark here. It comes across here, you pick up darks here, and then it comes around here like this. And basically carries your eye, and then it breaks, but your eye picks it up again. So what I really have is a movement that carried my eye through the entire composition like this. And it's a natural thing there, and actually it's this right here that appealed to me more than anything else about it. That's what I'm going to begin with. Now, I think everyone knows that we misguided it, so we'll just stop there and go from there. And anybody that doesn't know what that is, we'll be glad to explain it to you a little bit later. Some of you haven't used it yet. Okay. Now, the first thing I'm going to do to get my really strong color, now when I get into areas where there's a white building and I have really deep shadows, I like to take the ultramarine blue. We're going to use the same colors. I like to take a little bit of cadmium red, and let's just try something here. I think what I'll do, I'm going to substitute alizarin crimson, because most everybody's already got cadmium red, and I can't sell any paint like this, man. But I like the cadmium tends to be a lot warmer, and I like the contrast, but it tends to really bring the red part of it out. when we get over to the alizarin, it's really got a lot of blue in it, and it's a much cooler red than the other. Now, I have some of the moss coming down here. I miscuted the moss here. The rest of it I miscuted and so forth. Now here's a little trick. Let's go now with the blue and the crimson. And it's a much deeper purple looking color. And now, to not be confused in something like this, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay a light wash very quickly over everything. It's going to be a little bit brilliant. So now notice again, with this nice brush, we can come around like this and like this. And it's a lot easier to just drag it straight on down. So we're going to come down like this. Now, in reality, this dark is just going to keep going, actually almost down to this board here. So why don't I just follow that? And I'm just going to continue like this. Now this is our, I'm noticing on the opposite side, I have a wall here that I'd like to keep. So when I get down to where it's too thick, I'm going to come across like this. And then I notice that it's slanted with the column that I've got here. So we're going to bring it back up like this. Now I want to come around this moss here, around this. Now the moss below it, I went ahead and put masking tape on it. Now as I come across here, I'm going to outline this basic part here again, like this. I want some of my moss maybe to be a little longer here, since moss is so popular today and it's in with everybody. Now this is actually a place I could continue straight across, but I'm going to drop it like this, bring it around, and then I'm going to take it to this part right here. Now before I go any further, let's go back over here. And let's do this. Okay, run a little bit low on color, so I'll get a little bit more of that crimson and ultramarine blue. Now I've accidentally mixed a little bit of burnt sienna in it. Who's counting? It'll give me a little bit different color. I think I'll just revert back to the ultramarine blue. Now what I'm attempting to do is to actually get this covered quickly where I can come back and work a lot of this wet on wet. So let's just move this along rapidly here. Now I'm going to bring this all the way down to I've got a board that runs across this fence. We're going to bring that down to here. It's about this area right here. Now I don't know what this is here, but there's a section, I have a feeling it's some kind of a column. See, I don't really care. I don't have to know. I'm going to put the shape in there because I like it. And I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to bring this all the way down. And across here. Okay, now I want that fence to be white. We could have put masking tape or missed it, but I'll be honest with you, I'm just getting away more and more from that when I can, because it's time consuming, and I think a lot of it just kind of becomes a crutch, and got to get rid of that stuff. So we're going to come across like this. Now we really see the shape beginning to take place. So let's bring this down the rest of the way. Now, I've lost some of the wetness that I was really hoping that I could keep in here, but it's not a big deal because I'll figure some other things to do on it. I'll come down like this. Now that I've got it covered, I don't have to be so careful. I know I want it a lot darker, so I'll just move rather rapidly. Some of it's a little bit uneven. You might see it on the screen. Let's move this up here like this. And it's getting some jagged lines that used to bother me. It doesn't bother me anymore. All right, now I want to go to the blue And then we're going to take a little bit of the burnt sienna and then the red. Because I want this to be a lot deeper color. I'm going to come right up under here now, and I'm just going to start dragging this down with almost no definition in it at all. But I definitely want this to be extremely dark here. Now, as they say in the better art circles, this is where you want to take off like a scalded dog and just get on down there and get with it. Try to hit it wet. Now, a lady asked me one time where these better art circles were, and I told the lady, if you have to ask, then it doesn't do any good. You're not ready.
And you don't run into a lot of scalded dogs.
You don't have to worry, Joe. That's right. Thank you, man.
They usually only get scalded once.
All right. Now, what I want to do now, let's get my little red in
Color
there.
in there.
Woo, doggy.
Ooh-wee.
Let's get a little bit of burnt, just plain burnt sienna. Now, this is coming out a little bit lighter than I want. So I'm going to start just dragging all of this down. And see, once you get it painted one time, you don't really need to worry about it being so perfect. It'll tend to kind of flow by itself.
You got any black in there?
Not yet. Joe just asked me if I had any black in there. What I'm getting ready to do, though, I'm getting ready to put some in, because see, I found that with these colors, if I'm not going real heavy with the burnt umbers or burnt siennas, they have a tendency to really take a long time to get it black. And so where I want it solid black, I'm just going to use black. And I'm going to drop it down like this. And just not be afraid of it.
Don't be scared.
That's exactly right. Now I'll put all kind of patterns in here and whatever. Now, I know I have, I think this is going to be close enough to what I want. Now, I do know that I have a couple of areas in here where it simulates some post. So I'm just going to come down like this and barely suggest it. This is called the old Baton Rouge Fine Arts Academy rub the post out technique. Lose some of this a little bit here. Now I think, and if I need to, I can come back with a little bit of white and do it too. Okay, now I think this pretty well finishes this part. So now behind this fence is one thing I forgot to draw, and that is, now I notice there's a dock that comes along the bottom. There's some boards and all back in here that I'm going to put in. And as this starts drying, I notice there's some areas that are pretty solid dark, so I'm going to bring some of this out a little bit. But they had all kind of trash thrown on the ground. They might like me calling it that, but I'm going to come in like this and like this, and actually go down. Now the base of this post actually here it is right here, or it actually came back behind here. So I'm really going to just leave this white. A lot of this I probably will leave it white. And I'm going to just kind of put a jagged line, maybe have it come like this, just to form an abstract pattern. I then will bring this down like this. Notice again, I'm using a 1/2 inch brush. Now, at some point in time, it'll break down and we'll have to use something else. Doesn't bother me. Now, we have this kind of a post right here that continues to come down. Now, let's just drop down to a little smaller brush, like a number 6 or something like that. Sharpen that line a little bit. put this in here. And then we're going to continue. And I just love these little abstract patterns that you can do with stuff like this. And you don't have to define it. Now towards the base of this we have quite a bit of a dark area. Now you notice that what I'm doing in my mind, I'm doing the linkage on this thing now. So we're going to come across like this, and then it's going to go up here. And see how that's may not seem like a lot right now, but I'm putting in a pattern that's actually going to take your eye all the way across it. Now, I just went over a little bit here on where the post should be, but that's no big deal. Should have stopped right there. We just put a little white paint on it. Okay, now, let's come in here. Some of this is drying pretty good. See what happens if we put a little bit of yellow in here. The man has lost his mind. Reel me back in. Okay, now I've got a little bit of yellow there, and I'm going to come down over here, and I want to show a little bit of yellow in the reflected light over here. So we're going to come like this. Now, I'm not worried about it being all the way there. Now, let's see, when this back one comes down here, there's a kind of a dark. See what I'm doing, as I look at this is the light part, this is the middle tone. Now, I don't know what in the world's going on there. And you know what? I don't care. I'm going to make it a dark. So, it ends somewhere up here, so I'll just kind of pick up a little bit of this, and I will do accordingly. But I want this to be a little bit of reflected light, and I want to pick up a little bit right here. Okay, now we'll go back to our ultramarine blue. And we'll just come straight on down.
I gotta see it in person.
You better believe it. I'm gonna watch a man losing his mind. Now this is a little tricky. If you feel better, turn it around and drag it back the other way. Now I'm purposely going to allow this to dry somewhat lighter. Now see, there is this little haloed looking place right here. I don't want it to be quite this bright, but I think I'm going to just try to go for it.
This place right here?
Mm-hmm.
Or this light?
No.
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 The subdued, the white light is obvious, Dee. This is
Well, I know that, but I mean, I
no,
thought
but
you were...
I'm just saying, you're asking me, and I'm
Oh,
telling
okay.
you that what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to put something that you don't really see.
Okay.
You know, the white is pretty. This is something I'm going to create with color. Now, notice if you squint your eye when you see this, the value is going to be pretty close to the same. And I'm just using the color. Now, I don't want to lose the definition here, so I am going to go back now and let's straighten this. Let's see if this is on. Yeah, I'm going
You
to.
can't really see the colors that well in there.
Well, Dee, you know.
Well, it's because...
Are you suggesting I go out and buy a new digital television?
No.
All right. Now, we always want to come back and get this little dark area right up underneath it. Y'all heard me say that enough times. Anytime you got something going over something else, always have it a little darker. But I love the way that this is somewhat subdued as it goes up against this thing right here. It's got a very interesting shape and color and all that, so I felt like that reflected light. Now, as ridiculous as it might appear, when you look at this now that where I put the yellow in there, it's going to be barely detectable. But you can understand my reasoning behind it a little bit better. I'm going to let that just stop and let that dry. Okay, now again, I don't really know what this is behind it. I just know it's slightly lighter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little bit more red with the blue. And I'm going to come across like this. Just tone it down a little bit. Now I'm going to make this a middle tone. And really I'm just trying to cut a path to the post where I can stop and let y'all start having some of the fun. And then my last part is right here. And notice how I was able to do most of this with my brush. Now some of it I might have to go back and touch up, but I'd still rather have that option to be able to use it. Now, I think up in this area here that I put in a little while ago, some of that yellow would be very apropos, so I'm going to put some of that in here. Now, did I say that right, man? I heard somebody use that the other night.
I think it's good to use it.
Sounded like a good word to me. All right, now, I want this to actually be darker, a little bit darker than it is on the other part. Not a whole lot. In fact, up at the top here, I don't want hardly any distinction. I'm gonna make it. I want it to be a darker edge, so let's just come in here and put the black in. Now, I know you have to understand the characteristics of these colors when you're using them. They'll have a tendency to dry a lot lighter. So this is really, even though it may look a little dark right now, it's probably just what I wanted. All right, now down at the bottom, I want a little more color in this. So I decided we need something red in here. Now it's not going to stay that powerful a red. And if you're wondering why, then I'm wondering why not. All right, now I think what we can see already now is we can begin to see a pattern developing. And I want to do one really fun thing before I stop and let you have some fun. Now I figured we were going to be in New Roads today. I don't know if anybody wants to still go out and eat later, but we can somewhere. But we were going to be a little bit later, so I'm hoping everyone can stay a little bit later, even if you don't finish this. We can maybe stay till about 5:30 if y'all care to do it. I've just got a lot of things fresh in my mind that you'll love to be able to finish. Okay, let's notice that first thing I want to do is see that out here there's an extremely bright light. Now, if you're looking under one of those buildings and you're looking at a bunch of foliage and stuff like that, I mean, you're looking at trees and things, and I don't know if you've ever seen this in a window, but it tends to be very misty, and it's almost like a fog. And in the case of this, we can make it a little green if we want to, or we can make it a little violet. I think we will make it the violet. But it'll tend to take on a very brilliant effect. So we'll go ahead and put that in as soon as my water gets back. Now, and then there's a little foliage growing in front of it. That's the part I'm really interested in doing for y'all right now. Just because to me, this may wind up being my center of interest. I may wind up toning that gate down and really letting that be the center of interest. I just didn't want the conflict between the gate and the other. Oh, thank you so much, Dee Dee. I appreciate that. Now,
Oh, you wanna take that one?
yeah, I'll start with this one. Now, let's just do this. Okay. Oh man, let's just do it green. I don't know why I'm scared of green right now. Got a little blue in there whether I'm wondering. How about we put a little blue in the green and do it blue-green? That's good. Oh yeah, that's what I want. All right, now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start right here. Bring it down. I want to end it about right here. I think this is about where it ends. This is so light that you're not even going to be able to see it. Now, if you would like to know why I was leaning towards this greenish color, purple and green are extremely complementary colors. One of the highest complements.
Besides blue and orange.
More than blue and orange, I
Really?
think. I think in a softer way. And so what we have immediately is given this a much greater degree of importance by the way that I'm going to have this against this. Okay? Now I'm going to let it dry for just a moment, and then we're going to, and while it's drying, I'm going to come back with another darker edge over here, darker section, and we're going to come in like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put this jagged, because you can't really tell anything about what's going on. The only thing I notice is that when this gets a little bit drier, I'm going to put a few lines up to indicate these are boards coming down. And I'm going to just kind of stagger this a little bit. Now, what I hope y'all understand is, here's the shape that was in there that I left. Because it's one of the posts, I don't really know what it's doing, I just like it. And I think when we come down here, I don't know what I'm doing. I think it works very well to have this in here. And I'll go back up and make it a little bit darker like this. Okay, now I'll wait just a minute. We'll put the finishing touches on that one, and I'm waiting for the this to dry just a little bit more. No, I think that's close enough. Now, what's interesting about this is we're going to take some green, but we're going to mix some ultramarine blue and burnt sienna with it, and that's going to give us a very, very dark green. And before I put that on there, however, let's start like we were doing regular foliage. A little bit too light. Let's get our green and a little bit of yellow. And let's just come up here. And I love the way this just goes right up against here like this.
Are you just making up the colors?
Oh yeah, well it's black and white, I have to.
Well, oh, I just wondered if you'd seen it in color or something.
No. No, but I mean, I've seen other things in color. Okay, now, as I come up here, you know, I've seen, you know, you study things in photographs for so many years. And now, a lot of this, I just barely want to.
The bottom of that area you're working in there now comes down to to ground level. Is that right? Is that
It's on the other side of the building, and it leaves a little space in there.
Okay, but
And
that is ground. That's the ground.
That is, yeah, this is ground level here. This is the inside part of it.
Okay.
This would come all the way to the end of this
Okay.
and then go over.
Gotcha.
Okay, now, again, I just want this very, very soft foliage. And I'm just about finished with this, but I thought while we went this far with it, I'd like to go ahead and finish this. Now, with this, I'm making definite patterns all the way through this. And I'm leaving light, I'm making the patterns different. I love this part of it. I really, ever since I saw the picture, it was intriguing to me.
It's like ferns and ivy. And
Yeah, and you know how you just see that kind of stuff silhouetted, and it's just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, that's to a point where now I want to go to that darker green. And so we're going to start down here, and I'm going to pick up the same effect, and I'm going to have it almost as dark as the stuff next to it, as the part of the building next to it, I should say. I'm going to come over here now, and I want to make this blend together, and all you're going to have that's going to distinguish this is going to be the colors, but then I'm going to have some of the values. So here we have this darker foliage area beginning to be silhouetted against the lighter foliage, which in turn is silhouetted against whatever that is that's behind it, and that particular color that we use there. So let's come up like this. I don't want to overwork it but I love the lost and found effect now I'm picking up. And that's all here, and this, believe it or not, was what really did intrigue me about doing this.
Oh, I see what you're talking
You see? It's right there at the top.
about. No, I'm talking about, like, I see what you're talking about.
Mason?
Looking at that, it's like the Chiaroscuro, but in color.
Exactly. That's no, very good, Dee Dee. That's right. Now, up here, notice how I'm losing that edge. That's, in other words, I'm making sure that it's equally as dark as what I've got there. It's really coming out very effectively. I'm very pleased. A little bit partial, but you know, generally we aren't. We're generally very critical. Okay, now maybe tone this down a little bit. I don't want to get too much, but I want it to be connected. And I think I'm pretty close to where I want to go with it. How's that look on the TV out there?
Really good.
See, that's why paint anymore. Let's just mat it like that, man, and let that be the finished painting. Okay, last thing. Famous last words. Okay, we got a little line under here. See if that came out. Yeah, that came out on the TV. And then we got a little dark area right here on the top side of this, and I notice that it kind of drags up. Do like this, maybe get a little bit more dark up here.
I love it.
Well, thank you so much.
This is,
I need all the encouragement I can get.
we're not on that one.
Now I'm going to drop this down a little bit darker now. Maybe leave a little reflected light just for the heck of it. Now since I did this, I'm going to come on the side over here. Stop, Casso. All right, we're going to go ahead and stop it right now. We're going to blow dry it. Okay, we're going to go to the next phase of this where we're going to do the section just to the right of this post here. And we're going to, I notice there's, along the bottom of that hog fence there, they have a little, they have an object there that's not really that dark. It's come up a little bit higher with it. It's kind of a burnt sienna. I'm going to put it a burnt sienna looking color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down like this, and actually this was laying really up against the fence. We'll do this and come across here like this. Then we're just going to bring this all the way down. And then get some of our darker color with the blue and the red and some of these other colors. Make this really dark down here and just start fading it up. And then lastly, I might even take a little bit of the blue and the brown, a little bit of black, and put some pretty strong colors in to make this look like it really does settle down. Now see, by doing this all wet, it's giving us a nice smooth gradation. Now, we're going to come back up here, and for some strange reason, I want to show a little bit more of this reflected light up here. So we're going to come down the post, excuse me, the wall in the back here, not the post. We're going to give it a little bit of this. And then we're actually going to take the blue and the crimson and a little bit of burnt sienna. And we're going to start right at the top of this object here. And we're going to come up like this. like this. Now, as I look at my photograph, which is my reference material, I'm absolutely just winging it. And just making it pure abstract. Because again, if you understand that the primary functions of what we're doing is strictly to, there we go. That's what I wanted, was that to start running. This is strictly to be a backdrop. But I like the diagonal colors in the yellow coming across here like this, so we're going to turn this back upside down again, and then we're just going to let this fade into here. Now I lost a little bit of the yellow color in here. You can't see it too well. Probably should have left it a little bit lighter, but that's all right. I'll resurrect a little bit of it like this. And I might even come back in and add a little bit of it. See, this is an opaque color, and as long as you use it thickly enough, I'll just kind of come in and blend it like this. Okay, now it's not that big a deal. We'll let it go ahead and dry and see what it looks like. And I'll add whatever else I need to add to it. Okay, now that finishes this section over here. And I have this somewhat abstractly placed in here. Now the only thing I'd like to do now is maybe this section here. I don't want it quite that plain, so I'll come back and do this like this. Okay, now I think we can go ahead and call that part finished also. Now across one of the really interesting things, and I think I'm going to leave this solid white, but you'll see what I'm talking about in just a moment. Now coming down, I think I might as well go ahead and bite the bullet and start putting some of the actual shading on this column over here. And I may do that and just have that as my second stage. So we're showing that like it's ending about, or maybe ended about right here. Because it does end like that. We'll have it go behind that post, put a little ellipse on it like that. Now what we're going to do here, that's very critical, is I'm going to turn this upside down now, and I want to make sure that I do a lot of this showing the curving around this way and so forth. So just to kind of get in the groove on this, this will be our second phase that we're going to do for this part of it. Let's come back and see if we can go back to the pure. Get a clean palette here. We'll go to the pure blue and red and see what else we need on it, but we want these to be somewhat transparent. So let's concentrate on this. I put a tiny bit of burnt sienna in it just to tone it down just a tiny bit. Now I'm using this somewhat violet looking color quite extensively. I happen to love it. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do here is going to be our first shadow. And it's going to curve like this, come around here. as it comes out. Now what I'm doing is I'm starting and stopping this in areas where I have the freedom to do that. Now let's pick up some of this like this. Now that's going to dry. And we'll just come across like this. And actually bring that very softly across there, across here, across the bottom. Now I may want to darken that just slightly. I'll come back and decide on that in just a moment. Okay, now we have a lot of trees and all over here, so we have a pattern now that we can put in here, that we can make it do just about whatever we want it to do. Now, so let's just, now see, I'm went over out of the line a little bit, that really doesn't matter. Now I'm going to come down here like this, bring this around. I've actually got a cast shadow that comes like this, kind of crawls down this thing right here, comes down a certain part and rounds around like that. And then we're going to also put that side here in shadow. This is what I was saying about trying to copy these abstract shapes and whatever. And so I don't want this too dark. We can come back and darken it later if we need to. And we'll reinforce a little bit of that later on with some shadows, but we're going to come down this wall here. Then we're actually going to get to this kind of a lighter area back behind here, so we want to bring this a little further. And really, we can just make it into whatever we want to make it into. Now that's casting a little shadow. We'll drop it down a little bit here. Cast a little like that. Bring it back around. I'm going to take it down as far as I want to take it to this fence, because that fence is a good stopping point. So we're going to put this and we'll have a darker. Okay, now we're going to leave that like it is. And then we're going to, okay, we got the nice area coming down like that. Now let's come around here a little bit further. Bring this out and back. Bring it like this, and then we can actually pick up another massive area here. Bring it down like this. Soften some of it. And then we'll just continue on down like this. Now see, I'm able to do it from this side. Now again, this is a somewhat bright looking color, but it's going to be okay. I'm going to bring it down here. Now, again, coming across here, I stopped on that line. We're going to put some of our more of our shadows coming down here, and then actually we got just now we're going to get into some pretty strong darks down here. So I'm going to start leaving this white on the end. I'm just going to have a pretty large shadow pattern. Not too much else showing up. It's hard to do this stuff and leave it. You always feel like you want to go do some more to it. As we come here, I'm going to go all the way to the base of this thing, like this. Come across the bottom like this. And then we just have a randomly broken pattern coming all the way down. And this is relatively light. So now I want to take the same colors, add a little burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. I still want that reddish looking color in there. But I might even put a little black in it to tone it down slightly. So we got the brown, the blue, tiny bit of black. I really want to pick up some of these other shadow tones relatively darkly. And then so you can also, now you have to draw back, another thing to draw back on, you can kind of use the lighter patterns in there as part of this. And this is really just showing large mass of information that you have here. Now, I may come across here and show that a little bit distinctly, but I want to pick up a lot more of that. Now, I can randomly come in, pick up a little bit more like this. Actually, it's pretty well showing that this thing was clearing the edge. And I'm going to do this. Now, I like the idea of connecting this at the top. But before I do that, let's pick out a few more darker sections and let this fade. And really subdue this part of it here. And that's going to come like that, and then we'll just come up. Maybe pick that up a little bit darker. Start picking up some of this a little bit darker in here. Some of this we want to start losing. That line across there, and across here. Now, again, I want to watch it because I really don't want this to be, I want this to be somewhat darker, but not extremely dark. See, these shallows dried a lot lighter. But this is a little bit tricky, so you just have to play with it. I want enough in this just to kind of break it up. Now that kind of looks like a sandwich, a pattern, but it'll be a lot more distinct when we do some of the other things that I'm going to do to it. And just to clear that up a little bit better. Now I can tone that down later if I decide that I want to do it. But for right now, I would like to come back in and some of these sections here, I'd like to stand out a little bit more. And then I had an area here that was relatively dark. So I'm going to pick up some of this really, really dark color. And it's just a slight area there, right to the right side. Okay, now, I know that's a little bit hard to see, but it does what I wanted to do. Now, I felt it would be in a good idea here to warm this up a little bit and antique it. So we're just going to take a little burnt sienna and wash it over here. And just break up some of these heavy, heavy white spots. Give it a little bit more color harmony. Now, I had put this dark side over here. Now what I want to do here is just get a few little light sections, so we don't have some lines that are too definite. I might have lost a little more of my white than I intended to over here, but that's all right. Okay, now there's another section here that I'd like to start incorporating it. I'm not really even concerned about color right now. So get a lot of shadow. I really want values. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop right now. However, I do have one more little small area that I can just put a dark abstract shape in. And I'm going to come down and do that right now, and that's this one. And again, I'm not really too concerned about the color. Now, I really wondered about whether or not I should have made that this I shouldn't have left more white on this, but now as I look at it, if I want this to stand out more, I've got to tone it down. I'll probably have to tone it down a little bit more. Okay, now I think this is what we've done is we've done this and the post and this. This is a good stopping point. Well, now as we continue the next section of our painting, I'd like to review very quickly the first two stages. Stage one, we did this inner part right here and tried to really establish the emphasis on what ultimately will be the center of interest here. Okay, we'll move over to step two. We put the shadows on the posts, the back of the building, light and dark areas there. And then the final part of it, we did over on this section over here. Now, what I'm attempting to do is to show that there's these cast shadows going across here, and you get this interesting pattern going through here, all the way to ultimately what will probably be our center of interest in the area back there. Now, I'm saying that probably because it should hold up well enough. Now, in addition to this, there's going to be some real interesting shadows going across here. So we're going to continue now to put foliage in here, another interesting shape, connect this, put our shadows in, and then really the last thing will be to just put in whatever we're going to do across here in the top. And that's going to finish it. So having said that, let's go back to this section now, and we'll begin the next portion of it. Now the first section I'd like to do would be to come in, and we're going to make a continuation of this area right here. Let's move this over a little bit, and maybe I can drop this down where you can see it just a tiny bit better. Okay, now we're going to start right here. And then we're going to begin with the green and this cadmium yellow, very lightly. Again, we just want the brilliance of our sunlight back here on that foliage behind it. In fact, we're going to come all the way down here. And we're going to go all the way down to the bottom. And likewise, we're going to do the same thing here. Now, you won't really see a lot of this, but this is how we're going to do it. Now, I just noticed a little addition here that we might want to include in it. Not that big a deal one way or the other, but we're going to have an area with a shadow area under it. And let me just revise that a little bit. Pulling up on my misket. It's okay. We'll just have to remisket that, that's all. I redo it with our white paint. Okay. Now we're going to come down like this. Go along this line here. And then we're going to go over, and then there's another column here. And we're just going to bring this down like this. We don't really need a lot. And then we're going to, as we get to the base of it, we're going to kind of connect a lot of this. Have some of these light areas coming across here where you can see them. And actually, we're just going to continue this grass area all the way down here and to here. Okay, and then we're going to come across here, and actually this whole area down here I want to put in this lighter green, and possibly a little bit of the grass growing around the place here. And we'll fill this all in. This, of course, will dry a lot lighter. And it's going to end right about where those boards are. So we're going to just notice how easy it is to take this flat brush, just bring your section straight down like that. Okay, and then this is just going to go straight across here, and then up to the fence like this over here. Let's bring this down a little bit. This pretty well covers this entire section now, which is exactly what I wanted to do. Now, this is still a little wet, but in fact, I think I'm going to get the hairdryer and blow this off and maintain the crisp effect I would like to get here. So let's just pause for a second and go do. Okay, now we're turn this back around. I forgot to do this picture. I took my brush, came down sideways, and we're starting. We have a darker shadow back here. I'm actually going to be attempting to just group all of this together. Then we're going to come back like this and maybe have it stand out just a little bit more. Now that was a little more than I wanted it to, but it's all right. And it looked to be like possibly a shutter or something that was laying across the back of it. Now we're going to come across like this. Now we've got quite a few of the slats where light is coming through, and So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to bring it straight down. I'm going to close some of that in just a little bit. And see, the exciting thing to me about this is it really doesn't matter what it is, as long as it does what we want it to do, and that is to break up the monotony, create that dark. Now I overshot the mark a little bit on that one, but that's alright. And we'll just keep bringing it straight down like this. And there's really a lot of fun in using this particular brush, because I think it's a very versatile brush, and you see how quickly you can not only do things, but you also don't get bogged down in the details. And then what I want to do now is just kind of vary this in a way that it doesn't give us a monotonous pattern and just kind of come across like this. And we'll see if that's a little bit too strong later on. We'll tone that down a little bit. And then we'll come closer to the bottom area down here. We'll go back with that blue, our alizarin crimson again, a little bit of burnt sienna, and then just a tiny bit of black. Got a little space here we want to leave, and then we're just going to bring this straight on down to about here. Now we'll leave a couple of streaks showing on this one, but for the most part we just want to create a very dense shadow down here. So this is what we'll do. Now, in the process of doing this, we have some items that are very irregular shapes that are behind here, and they're all silhouetted in shadow behind it. And I'm not going to really worry about what these shapes are. I'm only going to connect them. It's all going to kind of come back behind here, and then it's going to be connected back around the base of this. Somewhat like this. Okay, now as we come towards the bottom areas down here, now again, the whole purpose for every bit of this, get that a little bit darker, is strictly just to have these nice dark areas that possibly could have even been left off. So one student suggested might have been a better composition if we had left it off, and it may be correct, but you know, you make your decision and you go with it, and this is what we've done here. So we want to make this a little stronger here. Generally with this ultramarine blue and red, you're not going to get your real strong contrast like you want it the first time you do it. Okay, now in reality, I overshot the mark on that one. We'll come back and do something on that in just a second. Okay, we're going to connect all of that together. Now, I want to come down towards the base of it now. I want to get some of my green and my blue. Put a little bit of burnt sienna in it to really warm it up a little bit. Okay, now we want to connect some shadow areas across the base here. Now, we don't necessarily need these to be real strong, but we're going to have some of this come like it's just coming right across this area here like this. And we'll just continue this across here. Because what we want to really do now is we really want some strong contrast and some powerful cast shadows coming like this across here. And we'll make them a little bit diagonal just to break it up a little bit. And we can pull some of it across here like this. Have some that come across, and you'll see other things I'm going to do on that in just a little bit. I don't want to really go too much further, so I'll have some of that running across there. I don't want to go too much further across here with that because I am going to save these real strong shadows a little later. I don't know exactly what I want to do on it until I get the rest of the picture in. So now let's go with the ultramarine blue again. Burnt sienna, a little bit of black, and a little bit of green, just to give it a little greenish tint. And what I want to do is on some of these shadows, I really want them to be cast very strongly. Not all of them, but just like we do on all of our foliage like this. So kind of lose that at the base of it down there. Okay, I know this gets extremely busy, but we're going to do certain things later that are going to tone this down, and I want to come up now and finish this other section over here. Now, there's a good possibility I should have left that portion off. That's what was suggested. It's just cut a lot of this out and only have that here, but I just felt that, see, when you put the mat on it, it just gives you another level of interest. And I like the mystique of it. I like really trying to figure out what's going on behind it. And so I'm satisfied with it, and we'll see, of course, a lot more when I do the finishing touches on the base of it. Okay. Now, I want to take about a number 6 brush and take my green, my burnt sienna, and I want to start coming up. I want some of this foliage to be relatively dark back here. In fact, I want to lose it like this. I want to lose some of this other part. So we're going to come like this, even down here. I want that to soften. I want this to be a massive area. See, that's what I hope is going to continue to pull your eye across here, up here, back across here, and follow the whole pattern that I'm wanting you to follow. Now, as we come over here, I'd like to come up and have this kind of a pattern. Now I'm going to break it up a little bit and start having some of this lighter pattern you see over there. I want to start having it a little bit higher. So we're just going to take some of this basic green. Now it's doing what I wanted to do in that it's breaking up this massive area, and just come up a little bit more with it. You see, we don't have to really worry about whether we touch anything or not. And as I come up here, I want to start skipping a little bit And I might take a portion of this green now and add a little bit of yellow to it. Start picking up a little bit darker foliagey area there. Somewhat like what I did in here. Come up the same way over here. As I get up higher, I want to really just let this kind of fade and not really have too much foliage showing at all. We're going to get a little bit across the top of this. And just generally let this fade. Now I've got to decide what I want to do up here. If I want to put a group of leaves or just exactly what I would like to do. But in the midst of this, I'm going to come up every now and then and put a little bit of darker line like this to kind of pull that together a little bit better. And we'll continue to darken some of it to loosen that up. Now, that left a little bit of the light breaking through, giving us a similarity to this and picking it up. And again, remember, I really am not that interested too much in what happens. Now, was thinking about putting some darker leaves up here, but I think what I'd like to do is just to go through and continue some of this really dark foliage at the top. So we're going to come back in and start like this, and we don't have to leave it completely dark. But there's a lot of activity up here, and I thought about putting some leaves and things like that, but I see where it's going to really be a lot better off to just come back up and institute something like this. We'll just wiggle that little brush around like this.